taken place over the years in Afghanistan are dramatic. Afghans today are partners, working with U.S. and coalition forces to secure their land, moving forward a little more every day, away from the grasp of insurgents and closer to long-term stability.
They have taken on this fight. I mean, they own the security of their country. It's time for them to do that. They're ready. They've done that. They've been in the lead for the last 2 fighting seasons. They have it for this upcoming fighting season. They continue to need the coalition's help in many areas.
The mission of Resolute Support is to train, advise, assist Afghan National Defense Security Forces, like these military police.
What's the point? Right now, this is if they're taking contact from the left or the right. So it allows them, right when they take contact, to orient on it, provides specifier, then get in the prone so they're in cover. And then that allows them to search for the enemy and then attack onto them.
The enemy is primarily the Taliban, with its rockets, suicide bombers, and IEDs.
Do you guys have any questions?
The Afghan soldiers, part of the Afghan Military Police Command, are tasked with the security of a nearby prison and the surrounding area. The Marines are part of a bigger task force with a code name Solid.
The Afghans obviously still have a long way to go. It still remains a huge task as a country and as security forces that are going to respond to our continued involvement, and they're going to need a lot of help for many years to come. But they're definitely on the right trajectory.
We have another formation called the wedge, where
one thing I'm very impressed with is their willingness to receive help, their willingness to learn, their willingness to get better every day, and that's the first battle that you have to overcome.
right, left, front, or rear.
Lieutenant Colonel Zach Miller commands Task Force Solid, a joint and coalition military presence 1,700 strong, primarily composed of soldiers from the republics of Czech and Georgia.
We're responsible for all of the security on Bagram Airfield, the perimeter, the entry control points, but more importantly, we're responsible for the security outside of the airfield.
Bagram Airfield remains as the largest U.S. military installation in the country. Drawdown since the end of Operation Enduring Freedom has made its mark, but Bagram still has significant strategic value to the coalition and to its enemies.
Lots of rockets, IEDs out in the ground defense area around Bagram. We've had a couple RPGs shot at helicopters. We've been direct fire attacks a couple times since we've been here. It's still an area of active hostilities.
Yeah, the threat's always present. The security around Bagram is pretty good, but you'd always approach it as if it is a dangerous place. I'm not an expert, and I shouldn't speculate too much, but if I was a betting man, they'd say they'd start heading up this way soon enough.
Staff Sergeant Eric Penny is on his final patrol. The 29-year-old Marine is an advisor to the A&A who travel with him on his rounds outside the wire.
The way I see it, the advisor mission, the best advisor training I've had is being married. Just learning how to cooperate, negotiate.
The Marines and the Georgians are members of Task Force Solid. The A&A comes from the 201st Corps. Together, they conduct what's called a dismount patrol. Resolute Support gives coalition new meaning. Total coalition troop presence in all of Afghanistan is slightly more than 12,000, coming from 40 nations.
A big part of our job is to create a relationship with the Afghan people, and I'll do that as the patrol leader as well with their Georgian counterparts. Assalamu alaikum. And I'll have my Marines looking out for me.
The village is called Kalimusapain, located in the GDA, ground defense area, what's known as the Bagram Bowl.
Security concerns in the village or around here?
The patrols extend over an area that is within striking distance of the enemy. Afghan real estate that is some 300 miles and is home to some 300,000 Afghans. The patrols are daily adventures that take them around the bowl. Each day they walk from 3 to 6 miles, depending on the village or town.
This mission, I think, sometimes is dangerous because this is Afghanistan. But so it's our job. So we are moving as a village with Marines. Marines and Georgian guys are moving. We are moving together, and so it's very interesting sometimes.
The interaction with the locals does a couple of things. establishes a collective security presence, and puts Afghan forces out front, in the lead, earning the respect and trust of the people.
We need the cooperation of people. We want to already should have the, the trust of the people to this their security forces.
Interior Minister Nurahag Ulami is a member of the Afghan government. He says it's time for Afghan security forces, to include his own police, to own the fight.
Not give a chance for the insurgency and other to do something. The police 24 hours, day and night, summer and winter, should be ready for that to do their job is the best. If 1 second we not care about the people, will be something that the insurgency is doing.
The minister and his colleagues are gathered for a demonstration of the MD-530, the warrior version. A close air attack helicopter, the MD-530 is a multi-purpose armed aircraft that gives the Afghan Air Force a serious fighting edge. Defeating their enemies and keeping the country safe and stable is the driving force for JIROA, the government of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. The Afghan Air Force is viewed as a critical tool in the overall strength of national security. There's about 100 aircraft currently in the Afghan inventory, which means that Afghanistan is literally taking the fight to the skies. Across the country, Afghan aviators are learning the skills of flying, both rotary and fixed wing. The AAF is seen as a vital enabler.
If you spend much time out in the wilderness in Afghanistan, if you fly over Afghanistan, what you can quickly find is a pretty rugged terrain. So the easiest, most effective, most efficient way to get around is via some sort of a rotary wing or fixed wing aircraft. It also gives them ability to bring fires to the fight.
Flying is just the start. Creating an air force from the ground up includes command and control, maintenance, supply.
You got to make sure that the staff knows how to plan a budget so that they can forecast requirements and have the money to pay for it when it gets there. So those are kind of some of the higher order things that perhaps you don't think about that takes time to build that capability, so when they step away, they will truly have a sustainable Air Force.
Success is in the wings, and not only in the air. Resolute support is set to help Afghanistan on all levels.
They've got the combat power. They've got the capabilities. The confidence comes from showing them what they already know to be true, that what they see as the problem is correct, and that they've got the capability to go after solving that problem. And they've had, just in our short time here in the last few months, a couple quick wins with that. Lots of bigger problems to address, however.
Colonel J.B. Vowell says the ANA are proven fighters. They have what it takes to defeat the enemy today. The challenge is guiding them to a mindset that embraces what it takes to be ready for tomorrow's fight.
In Afghanistan, everything is simple, but the simplest things are difficult.
The issue at hand, he says, is getting them to connect the dots.
That's a lot of force generation, getting new soldiers in, training, leader development, getting forces on the line, and force sustainment. Just getting the logistics sustainment functions of where do the bullets come from, where's the food come from, how do I get my vehicle that got blown up repaired or replaced entirely with a new vehicle.
For U.S. and coalition forces, it's basic military systems, processes, and approaches that keep an army running.
Some of the changes that you guys will see over the next week or so.
For many Afghans, the concept of anticipating future needs on a large scale on a regular basis is new territory.
Sometimes it's hard.
Major Adisa King advises at the operations level at the 201st Corps, one of 6 ANA corps. He says the path to greater understanding is lined with patience and a willingness to step back.
We cannot look at Afghans as a U.S. military, but we look how they own the fight and how they get after things and then continue to kind of, I won't say kind of push.
Advising, he says, is an art. It's not for everyone. You have to earn the right to sit at the table.
Not everybody can advise. Not every advisor is the same.
Resolute Support has advisors in 5 TACs currently employed across the country. The goal for all is to provide help in strategic functions, areas that keep security forces ready and responsive for the long term.
Programming, planning, budgeting, execution is one of our essential functions. Transparency, accountability, oversight, rule of law, force generation, intelligence, strategic communications, those type of things we got to continue to work on.
Strengthening national security is at the heart of Resolute Support. Train, Advise, Assist has progressed significantly over the years. What was shoulder by shoulder, hands-on training has now evolved into active listening and learning how to say no. Major Scott Steele is an artilleryman. Loves it. He says progress with the 201st Corps is taking place every day. The primary challenge, as he sees it, is holding back and letting them figure it out on their own.
We have to say no a lot and let them learn and develop their own methods and basically SOPs, their standard operating procedures on how to operate.
The A&A and artillery are good together. What troubles Steele is the big picture. If they are to own the fight, can they keep it up?
Tactically proficient, they can fight and they can win battles. But in order, to keep that sustainment and to sustain them for over, the next few years and not just this next few months is really the biggest challenge.
But with this battle tracking, what does this remind you of?
The big picture also concerns Captain Lorenzo Suarez. His classroom is the OCCR, Operational Coordination Center Region. His students are Afghan National Security Forces from multiple provinces. They represent the Army and the police. Together, they're tasked with maintaining security in the region around Kabul.
They're very good at receiving the information from one guy, hand it off to another, but not really doing much with the information when they first receive it. That's actual battle.
The base of operations is Forward Operating Base Gambari, home of the 201st Corps. The lesson plan for this class is showing how merging information into a common operating picture, heightening situational awareness, benefits all.
Because once they have identified roles and responsibilities, then they know their job they have to do. Everyone knows their place on the team, and the team is better overall.
Suarez is one of some 60 advisors assigned to TAC East. The OCCR is one of several in Afghanistan. The overarching goal for both is building a force focused on making a difference in the big picture. The landscape for the Train, Advise, Assist mission is Afghanistan itself. With a population of almost 33 million, recent studies report an increase in economic development, improvements in the lives of women. General living conditions are on the rise, and there is a reawakening of education. This village school is part of a growing presence of learning institutions throughout the country. After years of living in a world where schools were not allowed, Afghans are eagerly sending their children back to school. The courses are basic, the setting is austere, but school is back in session. We're told girls are present, but cultural sensitivities restrict getting pictures of them. We are assured, however, that everyone, boys and girls, get all that school has to offer.